everyone, I hope you're all well. It's nice to see you again. Welcome back to our little corner of the internet where I chat about my knitting and crafting and share our yarn dyeing business with you. If it's your first time here, you're very welcome. I'm at work today. There will likely be an interruption from a poodle. He's down here, and Nick's also in the room today, and he will be warping yarn, so you might well hear some background noise, but I figured it's all yarn related, so it's all okay. Well, I've got a few things to show you today. It's been is it 2-3 weeks since we caught up last? I think last time we were together we were at the allotment, weren't we? And core that in half changed since you last saw it. I will have to go back and do another recording at some point this week and show you the difference. It's really changed, not only because of the growth and the seasons developing, but also we've been hard at work digging and building and all the things. When I say we, that's a royal we. See, he's looking at me. That's a royal we. I did shovel some wood chip into a we, so it is a we actually, but loosely. It's mostly Nick has been hard at work. So I've got some quilting to show you today. I've got knitting, of course. I've got yarn, a new project that's been keeping Nick really busy, and yeah, it's a really exciting project for us. So I'll tell you about my little scarf shawl first. This is the Ruthie shawl by Twinset and Pearl. It's a lovely little, a really nice project actually. I've worn it loads. I knit this last summer, I seem to recall. I knit it when we were at the caravan. So yeah, it must have been last summer, end of summer, and I haven't worn it. It's just been sort of in the shop as a shop sample. But I pulled it out this week, or last week, 10 days or so, and I've worn it every day. It's as light as a feather. It's beautifully drapey and soft, but it just gives you that little bit of warmth around your neck during this transitional season. We've had the most glorious weather in the UK, but it's just come kind of back to norm for its time of year now. So just having this little scarf shawl around my neck has just been lovely. So it's the Ruthie shawl by Twinset and Pearl, and it's a great project for a single skein of, I used our merino yak silk base, which is 120 gram skein, giving you 480 meters, and you only need 10 grams of the Surrey alpaca, the little flooflets as we call them. So for this little bitty sock set at £20, you get what I think is a really nice, and it is a luxury knit because the fibre blends are luxury with the yak and the silk and the merino. Yeah, it's lovely. We sold loads of these at the time last year, and we haven't restocked them for a little while, but they are back in stock now if anybody's interested. That's my sales pitch over. So do you remember I showed you my quilt block? Oh, a little while ago now. I showed you the strips I'd been making. This is a string pieced quilt in Tilda Fabrics. It's the Tilda Creating Memories line, and I blended all the different seasons. So in that fabric line you get spring, summer, autumn, winter, and the palettes are the patterns of the fabric are all the same, but the colour palette changes depending upon the season. I've used mostly spring, but I have added in some of all the other seasons, but mostly spring. And I've finished the quilt top. It's finished, it's layered. I've quilted it mostly. I'll talk about that in a minute. And it just needs trimming and binding. I say just, that's the bit I always sort of fall on because I don't particularly enjoy the binding part. I say that I don't mind doing the binding. I enjoy the making of the binding. I've only ever done the hand sewn binding at the back, and I find that a bit tedious. But yeah, anyway, let me show you. I'm going to struggle to show you. Quite big. Oops, it's 60 inches by 60 inches. Let me just show you one block. Let's just... I'll try and get some footage and put a little video in or something. I'll get Nick to film me holding it up, and then I'll put a little overlay video on here for you to see. Isn't it lovely? So it's a string piece block, and you can literally make this with any scraps at all. You can be quite deliberate like I was. I cut all my strips to 2 inches. And I put the plain cream at the centre of each block, so that I had this secondary pattern. Or you can just literally go as scrappy and as random as you like. It really is brilliant. It might look complicated, it might look intense, but honestly, if you have a sewing machine, you can make this. There is nothing tricky about it. Yes, it takes a little bit of patience. Yes, you have to iron a little bit in between, but there is nothing on here that somebody who has never made a quilt before couldn't make. It's brilliant. If you follow Kate at the Last Homely House, is it just Last Homely House now? Is it still Last Homely House East of the Sea? I think it's just Last Homely House. If you follow Kate, she's been doing a series of videos showing precisely how to make this block. I didn't follow that video, I'd already made mine by then, but it's yeah, it's brilliant. It's a great resource, so it might be worth having a look. I will put a link in the description box so you can follow that. Yeah, I'm really chuffed with it. Quilting wise, I've never machine quilted anything before. I've only ever done hand quilting, but I knew I wanted to machine quilt this, and it was a really easy project to quilt because the geometric lines just lend itself to just going straight stitch machine quilting. I nearly said shit then. Straight stitch machine quilting. I found it a slight challenge because of where I was quilting. The table at which my machine is on didn't have a back, it's against a wall, so where it would be ideal to sort of drape it down the back of the table and then just push it through, mine was just sort of scrunching up at the back of the machine, so that was a bit of a challenge. So I wouldn't recommend that, and that is a lesson that I've most definitely learnt. And I did get a couple of puckers. Where are they? And I think it was because of that. But, oh, here we go. Yeah, here, look. Can you see? On here, just puckered a little bit there. So I'm just going to unpick those couple of stitches, smooth it out, and then resew it. Thank you, Jilly, for that top tip. The thing is, when this is washed and washed again, it all puckers and wrinkles anyway, doesn't it? And that for me is the absolute joy of a handmade quilt. So I'm not sad about it. However, if I can correct it a little bit, I'm going to try. You know, I rarely strive for perfection. Well, I never strive for perfection, unlike Nick. It's giving me the dirtiest look. This would mess with Nick's head. He would unpick the whole quilt and restart it. Me? No, not bothered. But I am going to try and get that a bit better. Having said all that, it's ultimately a throw from the sofa for Jeff to go on when he's got muddy feet. So, you know, he's not going to judge me, is he? As for the binding, And I initially thought about doing a scrappy binding in all the same fabrics. However, I think I'm now going to bind it with this one at the back. This is Mere Pink from the Sunday Brunch line by Tilda. I like Tilda fabrics, if you haven't gathered. I think I'm going to bind it in that. I think that will be quite a nice... There's none of this one in the main body of the quilt, but I think it coordinates beautifully with all the other fabrics within it. As I say, I think that will be quite a nice binding. What do you think? Would you go scrappy? Would you go one cohesive one? That's my thoughts currently. Yeah, I really enjoyed it. I'm going to a festival of quilts in August this year with some friends, so I figured I need to get some of these things finished. I've already picked out my next project. Oh, the binding. I am going to do this at home. I'm going to bring my sewing machine back from the caravan to home, and I'm going to do the binding at home so that I don't have that issue pushing it through. Yeah, that's my plan. I think it'll be easier on our larger dining table or here at work, where I can literally drape it over a huge table and go from there. But for now, oh, it's really warm. I found a new batting. New to me. It's probably been on the market forever, but it's new to me. And it markets itself as a batting that you don't have to pin or baste or do any of that sort of stuff with the quilt top. You can literally smooth it on. There's a certain technique, it shows you on the packaging, a certain technique to smooth it on, and it does stick in place. Nick and I did it together. I needed help with it, and yeah, it did do it. I think we literally put a pin in the corner, and it was fine. It hasn't moved or shifted and the other joy of it is one side's it's all 100% cotton, so there's no man-made fibres, which I do prefer. The one side's quite tacky, fluffy, which is why the cotton sticks to it. And then you've got this other smooth as butter sort of brushed cotton. But I think with the two layers, it makes it incredibly warm, which is lovely. So yeah, dead chuffed with that. Let's throw that on there. Jeff's on this chair at the side of me. Here we go. Knitting wise, I've been fairly diligent in working on one or two projects. One being the socks that I'm knitting all year for Nick. You know, if you've been here before, I'm knitting a box of socks, all Christmas themed based, so that Nick's got them for December. They're not a surprise. He sees me knitting them every time, so yeah, it's not a secret, but he's not allowed them until December. And that idea sparked our 2025 yarn club, which was Santa's Secret Sock Club. It's a mystery yarn club. It's not a subscription base. You join every month, sign in 1 month, have a couple months off, join another, you know, you choose. But the goal is that at the end of the year, you've got 12 pairs of socks that you can wear sort of every other day through Advent. And I have continued with it, which I've somewhat surprised myself with 4 months in now. You know, we're surrounded by yarn and wool and new ideas and new projects all day, every day at work here. And it can be it's incredibly inspiring as a knitter. It's like, oh, shiny. And you're like, oh, you just get inspired by the new colours and the new things. So it can be quite a challenge for me to dedicate to a year-long project without a distraction. But so far, I've done it. There's no reason why anybody who had April's Oh Christmas Tree sock set won't have received theirs, but just in case you're keeping them for, I don't know, for Christmas themselves, I'm going to show mine now, so perhaps skip ahead for a few minutes. So there they are. This was Oh Christmas Tree, and as you can see, it's this really beautiful variegated green, and the mini was a speckled mini to represent fairy lights. There are two. I don't know why I feel the need to prove to you that I have knit two, but there we go. So as always, I've followed a pretty basic sock recipe where I've done 2x2 twisted rib this time. So by that I mean knit 2 through the back loop, purl 2, knit 2 through the back loop. I did 20 rows, 60 row leg, following a 7 row green, 3 row speckle, 7 green, 3 speckle throughout. Then I've done a traditional heel flap and gusset with the little garter edge that I always enjoy to do, and then down the foot. With regards to the stripes, back in January's club, I did a similar pattern, but I did the cuff and the heel in the contrast colour, and that used about 23 grams of yarn, so it wasn't enough for the sock set as we send it out, but it was just a, you know, I've spoke about this at length in the past, but it was just an experiment really to see how far 20 grams went. So I knew I couldn't do that, so I chose to just stripe the leg of the sock, and I actually used only about 4 grams of yarn, which is bonkers, isn't it? So I think this month I'm going to stripe the whole sock, but leave the cuff, heel and toe in the main colour. Okay. I've been having a little play around with my decreases over the last couple of months. I haven't brought the other pair to show you. I did a new decrease on last month's sock, and I forgot to tell you about it at the time, and I haven't brought it with me this time either. But yeah, I've been, like many of us, my SSK never really matches up to my knit 2 together, and I know that that's pretty typical. I know it's something many of us, not struggle, that's the wrong word, but yeah, try to perfect. Megan's isn't ever any different, which I'll show you in a minute, but yeah, mine is always different. So yeah, I've been playing around with some different decreases, and I do think it looks nice. So that would be my SSK round, my left leaning decrease. And this was a technique in a shawl pattern that Nick is knitting, the Falderal, is that how you say it? It's Falderal shawl by Romy Hill. I've showed it before, few episodes back. No, he hasn't finished it. And because it's all over lace, Romy Hill patterns are typically lace designs, and this is no different. It's all over lace. There's obviously lots of left and right leaning decreases, and she never uses SSK, or at least not in this pattern. There's no SSK. She calls it advanced stitch techniques, doesn't she, I think, or advanced decrease. Anyway, it doesn't matter, but yeah, it was good. It was about reorientation of the stitches, so you kind of knit through the back loop, twist it round, so you just reorientate the stitches, but it was nice to play around with something a bit different. Yeah, it was good. That is those. Megan has knit these socks too, and I've brought one of hers to show you. I've done this before, but I just think it's incredible how the same yarn can look so different when you play with different textures and patterns and stripes and things. So this was Megan's version. It's the same yarn, same speckle. In fact, the speckle I think is more sort of showcased when she's used it for the contrast element. Yeah, you know, the cuff heel toe. And this pattern is the Winter Solstice by Kay Jones. I again will link that in the description box. Yeah, they do look different, don't they? Totally different vibe. You know, the colours are obviously the same, but you just get a different vibe. I'm going to put that in my box of socks. It's growing now, I'll show you. Just let me get it in nice. Although my walking in a winter wonderland is at home, so I need to put that one back in. Oh, it's growing now. That's a Dahlia, forget that one. But these are my 4 so far. Get in there. When we were playing with colour ideas for this one, we knew we wanted to do a Christmas tree and we knew we wanted fairy lights. And our initial thoughts were obviously doing a green main skein and a speckled fairy light mini. However, there's a yarn on the marketplace that's got tweed speckles in it, neon specks. And the neon specks of the yarn they resist the dye, so they maintain even after dyeing. And I just thought that would be so cool. Can you see? So it's the same colour green, and then you get these neon splashes of yarn throughout. And that to me was the fairy lights. And then the contrast mini, we could have either gone with a star on top, a golden colour, or you know, something like that. So I thought this was really cool, and we dyed an initial batch on it. I showed it to a friend she too thought it was really cool. Nick was unsure. He was unsure how people would feel about having a different base to what they've had previously. He preferred to offer a more cohesive collection, which I can totally appreciate. You know, people didn't, although it's a mystery yarn club, I don't know whether people would have expected to have a cohesive base running throughout. So yeah, I took that was a very valid point. And when I showed it Meg and said to her, "Quite look at this Christmas tree on tweed," she was like, "Oh no, not for me." She said, "Can I have mine on the normal base?" She said those little tweedy bits would get on my nerves. So I was kind of outvoted really, but I do like it. I do really like it. We only dyed, I think, 12 skeins of this. I've sent a skein to my friend who loved it too. I've kept one and I've put the other 10 in the shop. So if you too like the tweedy neon yarn and want a Christmas tree pair of socks, there are 10 of these in the shop. Whew, should have brought a drink. I didn't bring one today. Oh, I'm off the poison, have I told you? I'm now, oh, what am I, 5-6 weeks? I've had no Pepsi and no caffeine, so feeling very virtuous. Will it last? Who knows? I've only been working on one other project and I'm really enjoying it. Really enjoying it. It came about because we have started dyeing self-striping yarn, which is just so exciting and such a big development for us as a business. Yeah, we did self-striping yarn. This might be a general waffle, folks, so settle in. We did self-striping yarn when we first moved here, wasn't it? So 5 years ago, maybe? Yeah, 5 years or so ago. And we offered it in the shop and it was always really well received, really popular, sold out. We couldn't ever keep on top of it in the shop. And that was largely because of just the logistics of making it. It's no secret that it's incredibly labour intensive. And at that time we had a warping board that I used to warp one single skein, then we'd take it, dye it, dry it, all the things, get it back on the warping board and then either wind it by hand into a gobstopper ball or reskein it onto the thing. But oh, that warping board is so temperamental. One, you just think you're moving like a snail rescanning it, and then they all ping off the pegs and you're in a right pickle then, a real tangle. And it just logistically became unmanageable. It just wasn't viable as a business. It wasn't sustainable as a business. And we've never revisited it since. In my mind, I've revisited it frequently. And every time I'm playing with our pick and mix minis, or we're organising colours for new palette packs and things like that, my mind always goes to, oh, wouldn't that be cool as a self-striping? Oh, wouldn't this be, you know? And Nick too, he too enjoys it, but it just, as a business, was not sustainable in the way that we used to do it. Every birthday I asked Nick for a skein of self-striping yarn. I've never had one yet because he just can't bear the thought of doing the whole board. And yeah, so anyway, come January, he set himself a bit of a challenge to revisit the process of self-striping, and we looked at warping mills and automated systems. And any dyer in the US is so lucky with what you have available to you in terms of equipment. We just don't have the access to it here. Even reaching out to some US companies and trying to get things shipped over is just, yeah, you either can't do it or it's just, I guess, cost ineffective. So bless him, he got to the drawing board and trial and error, and I'm looking over there because that's where it is, but yeah, lots of trial and error over January, February, March. He'd build a prototype, we'd try it, he'd go back to the drawing board, and we finally got a warping mill set up now that we can put a kilo of yarn on it at any given time, so that we can just, yeah. And last week we launched we had our first self-striping update, and it was so well received. So thank you if you supported that. And if you didn't know about it, it's going to be a regular feature. It's we're hoping fortnightly to have it in the shop. And one day I'll tell you why this is so significant to us. That's another story. But yeah, it's big. It's big for us personally, it's big for us as a business, and we're just really grateful for all your support. I've got a couple here to show you, or I've got the samples rather, just to show you what we did. I say they have all sold out, so please don't look in the shop, but yeah, they'll all be back. So this one is called This Is Us, and this is our signature colourway. And I say signature because we've had yarn bands designed in that colourway. And this is the one that we're going to really focus on keeping in stock. Or not in stock, we'll dye it while ever it's out of stock for 2025. And then next year we'll do another one. Isn't the band cute? That's This Is Us. That's our 2025 colourway. This one was really popular too. This is Beach Huts. Really fun and zesty and bright, and I love it. Again, this one was really popular. These are the three that sold out first. This is 100 Acre Woods. Yeah, just really pretty. This one was the next one to sell out, which is Great Outdoors. Lovely. This one, this is Nick's favourite. Again, really well received. And this is Jester. You had a Pinterest image, didn't you, of a Jester, and it was all black, whites, greys. This one I'm going to show you more closely because it highlights. Again, we were talking about how I never strive for perfection. Nick always strives for perfection. And this shows that perfectly. Can you see there? The transition between colours. You've got one black stitch, one grey stitch. There's no in between, there's no muddling. Again here, you've got literally one grey stitch, one red stitch. And I can't tell you how tricky that is to do. I can't even see the transition on these lighter colours. I struggle to find it. But again there, you've got one really pale grey stitch and one medium grey stitch. Where's there another one? But on these sort of colours where they're blacks, greys, red, that is really tricky to do. So yeah, dead chuffed and proud of him for that. It's the same on all of them. I can't always see the transition, but that grey one just shows it really well. Oh, here we go. Let's show you on this one because it's a darker one. You might be able to see it. On the purple to yellow, you get one purple stitch, one yellow stitch. In fact, that one you get a half purple stitch and a half a yellow stitch. That is the difference between Nick's brain and my brain. This was interesting. We do, or have done for years, palette packs where we take 10 tonal colours and sort of create a cohesive palette pack. And the Earth Tones palette pack, which is in this shawl here, this was one of our very, very first palette packs. This was one I devised way before Nick joined Layfamilyyarn. And we decided to take all 10 colours within the Earth Tone palette pack and make a 10 stripe sock. Ignore this clay sort of colour at the end here. This is off the sock machine. So yeah, we took all 10 colours and made a 10 stripe sock. So yeah, we've been having great fun. Oh, just dropped me knitting. We've been having great fun with that. And as a result of doing that, I've got little leftovers. Little chef's treats, as I call them. When we take them off the warping mill and make them into skeins, you know, little skeins, I end up with these little nuggets left. Have you got the scales there? I wonder how much is here. I'm not sure. It's probably about, I don't know, 12, 15 grams maybe, 10, 12 grams. But they're my little chef's treats. And I wanted to do a project. I've wanted to do this project for some time. And my intention at the start was to just do it scrappy. But then I got these little nuggets of self-striping, so I've used it for that. So I am making the Skra bucket, S-K-R-A bucket. Can't remember who by. I'll pop the pattern link in the description box. And it's great. Can you see? It's like a knitted project bag. So you start at the bottom with this pinwheel cast on. I think it would be similar to a Musselburgh hat if many of you have made those. You start at the bottom, increase out. Now you can, the pattern gives you two sizes, but you can literally keep increasing as big as you want. And I did miscount. I have gone, I think, one increase bigger than the pattern. But it's absolutely fine. It really doesn't matter. And then you knit, 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 knit in the round until a certain measurement or as big as you want. And then you do these little welts which create the drawstring cord. There is a tutorial in the pattern to show you how to do this, and there's a really nice technique to make picking up the stitches and joining the welt easier. Then you knit, 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 knit until you get to the same length as your body, and then you do the decrease, and that bit folds inside that bit to become your lining, and all your ends are tucked inside. The pattern suggests, and I did do this, I knit my ends in as I went. And because they're all encased within the lining, you don't have to bother with weaving the tails in or snip them too closely or anything like that. Then you just get this lovely little bag. The bottom isn't self-striping. This is just a selection of scrappy minis that I had lying around. But the body of the bag is a mixture. This one was the very first self-striping we did, and it was a bit of a oh no, this one was the first one we did, and it was we messed up. It was a very steep learning curve, and that one didn't turn out right. Not this top colour, that's a scrappy. This little bit here, we got the maths wrong on that one. Do you remember? Mm-hmm. Then we did this one next, which was the prototype for This Is Us, but it was more of a gold and we wanted more of a yellow. So we kept most of the colours but changed this gold colour to more of a yellow colour. So that's gone in there. And then on my lining, which I'm a bit gutted about because I would have rather have had this on the outside than the inside, but it's fine. I've got beach huts and 100 acre woods. And then I'm just going to put This Is Us. And I've loved it. I've really, really loved it. It's been mindless. It's easy. Oh, did I say you hold it together with a main skein? I've just used Hercle Durkle because well, Hercle Durkle is one of those colours that it's not intrusive. It doesn't overtake everything else. It's nice. So it's a really lovely DK fabric of 2 4-plies held together. You can see in the drawstring where it's marled with the 2 colours, so you get the purple and the Hercle coming through. This is going to be a Christmas present for Megan. I'm going to have it as one of her sort of little Advent Sunday gifts. And I shall stuff it with some chocolate and probably a new sock set of yarn or something for her to knit with. She'll enjoy that. That's really the only project I've been working on. Oh, I've just dropped a stitch. Let's get that. There we go. Let's pick him up. Yeah, I've only been knitting on this project. And my socks, but I can't show you the other pair of socks I've got on the go because it's this month's club and it hasn't been released yet. Is that it? Oh, I brought Megan's other sock to show you. This is in this month's Dahlia club. So if you're looking for a new mini skeins set, this is our new Dahlia one. This is the Love and Patches sock pattern by Danny George of Little Bobbins. It's lovely. It's the pattern. It's prescriptive in that it suggests an order in which you do the different patterns, textures, but you don't have to. It's a real pick a mix of textures. You can just plug them in which you prefer. That's nice. Isn't it funny how Megan keeps her ends on the outside, where that would drive me insane. I always have mine inside, and I don't think I always did that, but I have done in most recent terms. Have you seen that sock pattern? I was going to do it for Nick to wind him up because it would drive him insane. Have you seen that sock pattern where you don't weave your ends in, you sort of blend them together to make like a bit of a unicorn tail down the side of the sock? I have got form for not weaving my ends in. I give him that. So yeah, I was going to knit this. You'd kind of twist them together like that and just leave them hanging at the side. So I was gonna knit them for Nick just to take the piss, really. I still might. He'd never wear them. He'd be absolutely infuriated by them. But it tickled me. Do you want a pair of them, Nick? No. Alrighty then, my friends. I'm gonna call it a thing. Jeff's fast asleep here. He hasn't even looked up. So it's been lovely to chat with you, and I hope not to leave it so long. We will get back down to the allotment and take a few snaps there to show you around soon and show you what's coming on. But until then, hope you all stay well. Happy knitting, happy crafting, and catch up very soon.